Today, on Naturally Curious, we're going to talk about how radio telemetry is used to track freshwater fish, some of the most imperiled species on our planet. Now, as a freshwater biologist, I want to understand how, where, and when different fish species move, interact, and compete with each other to feed, navigate, mate, and lay their eggs, so that I can recommend the best approaches to conserve and protect their habitats. Now, just as important as it is to understand what fish do naturally, I also want to understand how they move and interact in response to land use changes, like shoreline development, hydroelectric operations, construction of dams, and even how they react to commercial and recreational fishing tactics. Now, telemetry is a suite of tools I'm able to use to collect all of this information on individual fish, representative of populations, with minimal disturbance to their behavior, beyond the initial capturing and tagging of the fish. Now, radio telemetry is one of these particular tools that we use to effectively monitor, track, and efficiently collect data on these guys over time. And we can do this in really complex habitats like wetlands and really turbulent water systems. How do we do this, you say? Well, we can do it by boat, canoe, walking along the shorelines, and even better yet, in really rugged terrains, mountainous areas where the fish are high in altitude, we can actually we can mount these things to shoreline structures, and that allows us to collect information in real time by computer, when we don't want to go outside. Now, this system takes three components. You've got a transmitter, which for our fish is internal. You have your antenna, and you have your receiver. Now, the antennas, they all come in different sizes, and it depends on the fish that you're studying. It depends on its age and the question that you want to ask. You don't want the tag to weigh down your fish and disturb its natural routine, but you also want it to be large enough so that you can collect all the information in one go. Now, you might have figured out by now that this thing emits a radio frequency. Thankfully, I've had the entire conversation on what frequency is, so you know. Fantastic. So, just like dialing in a frequency to your favorite radio station, I'm going to dial in and see if we can't capture our fish today. Now, unlike trying to dial in on the frequency of your car, tracking and locating fish takes a little, let's say, finesse. You got to train your ears for it. And you have to pretty much play with the sensitivity of this receiver, known as its gain. And by doing that, you are able to continue detecting that fish, listening to subtle changes in those beeps, those high-frequency beeps. And you just keep playing with it over time until you finally find that fish. It can be difficult. I finally found him. I've been tracking this guy for a week. This is a sockeye salmon. I just tagged him last week. This guy is in the river estuary in BC on Canada's west coast, and he's just about to migrate up one of the great tributaries of the Fraser River system to find himself a mate. Now, this poor guy is in the last leg of his journey because salmon are called salmoparous. That means that they actually die after they spawn only once. So sad. But these guys are a key nutrition source for the river ecosystems. Not only for the wildlife species that inhabit the area, but also after scavengers drag in their bodies, eat the best bits of the fish, the rest of the body decomposes and is brought up into the forest nutrient system. Let's put him back in this pool. Now, the more information we can collect on this fish, other fish in his populations, and even other species all across the world, including my lovely sturgeon, the better picture we can paint that reflects how these individuals interact with their environment and how we can better manage our rivers and lake systems so that we can sustain the needs of this fish, the environment, and the people that live in it. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you next week on how fish goes from lake to your plate.